haven't showed Snow since the introducing my dog video that I have uploaded. The reason why I don't have him here in my videos as often is because he's a very independent dog. So he's not the cuddly type of dog. He does his own thing. Do you agree? Yeah? Look at him. He's so sassy. Look at him. Can you please say hello to the audience? Can you give them a little howl? Can you say, ooh? Ooh. Thank you. He loves you guys. Give me a hug, please. Give me. Told you. Hey guys, welcome back to my now existing channel. I've missed you guys so much. So here I am. I have read a lot of books and I haven't done a recap throughout last year and the beginning of this year. So I saw Larry do something like a beginning of the year book tag and I was like, okay, I need to try one now. So that is what I'm gonna do, and I have her questions actually. So shout out to Larry for making these questions. We're just gonna go ahead and get started with the video. Question number 1 says, how many books are you planning on reading this year? I actually plan on reading about 34 books. Altogether, throughout last year and this year, I have read 40. So I don't know whether or not that's a realistic expectation. I really am gonna try. So far, I read only about 4 to 5 to 6 books. I'm getting there, and I honestly would have probably read a bunch more if I weren't so busy with college. So that's definitely kind of holding me back, but we're gonna get ourselves together. I read a total of 20 books last year, so I just want to push for a little bit more, and so I think 34 is like a good reach. A book on my physical TBR that I probably won't ever read. I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to show you my physical bookshelf really quick. I have Tiger's Eye by Kate Spuller, Abby Jimenez, yours truly, Legend by Mary Lou, The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine and Aaron, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, The Most Likely Club by Alyssa Friedland, Mitch Albom, The Stranger in the Lifeboat, The Natural by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox, Jodi Picoult, Mercy, The Love Stories of the Bible Speak by Shannon Breen, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, Love in Other Words, Christina Lauren, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, The Holiness of God by R.C. Sproul, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, Adorning the Dark by Andrew Peterson, My Kindle, which doesn't count, God Will Carry You Through by Max Lucado. I have the complete trilogy of The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, Part of Your Worlds by Abby Jimenez, Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Kahn and David Levitan. Then I have Max Lucado, God Is With You Every Day, which is kind of like a devotional, but it's also a book in a sense. I have this book that I purchased for college. It's called The Secret Histories, an anthology by John S. Friedman. Then I have this one, which I found at a thrift store. It's by Candace Owens. And the reason why I purchased this one is because I've seen a couple of clips of Candace Owens on TikTok, and I thought that her mindset, not her mindset, but her thoughts were really interesting. And she is more of the conservative side. And I have a lot of books that I've purchased, textbooks that deal with more liberal mindsets, and I'm someone who is very unbiased and I like seeing both point of views. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just gonna buy history from a liberal's point of view. I also want to see the conservative point of view. So I am going to try to read Candace Owens' Blackouts. Then I have The Makeup Test by Jenny L. Howe, The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. So this one was a gift, and this is actually one of the first physical TBR gifts that I've ever gotten. This one is Always Be My Duchess by Amelie Howard. This one is Meet the Sky by Mick Call Hoyle. And then the last few books are my Bible collection. I have 3 versions of it. I have the NLT, the children's version, and I also have the New King James Version. And I also have a more in-depth tutorial and a clip of a reading vlog that I did, so I'll leave it down below if you're interested in my Bible tour. But that's it. I'm not counting devotionals, journals, or textbooks. I honestly consider this one to be kind of like a textbook because I do have to read it for college, but it's in a novel type of style, so that's why I included it. Out of the books that I put back, I chose these two as books that I probably won't read, at least this year, or at least in a long time. So this one is Jodi Picoult, Mercy, and the reason why I won't read this book is because this is actually my sister's book, but she just passed it down to me. It has gone through a lot. I've tried to restore it. The spine is very cracked, and I'm not someone who likes cracking the spine, but you know, I've tried my best. Anyways, it's like slanted, if you know what I mean. The reason why also is because I was there when she was reading this book in high school, so she had to read this for an English class in high school, and I was present because she is someone who loves reading with audiobooks. Sometimes she would ask me to read it for her, so I just remember glimpses of this book. Personally, it doesn't make me want to read it even more right now, but I will definitely give it a chance, don't get me wrong. And then this one is Mitch Albom, The Stranger in the Lifeboat. I actually got recommended this by someone in Target. They were talking to me about Mitch Albom and how they love his books. They recommended this specific one to me because they said that it kind of changed their perspective in a lot of things. She mentioned that she was a very spiritual person, and when I was reading it, it kind of sounded Christian because it says, what would happen if we cried out to God for help and someone claiming to be God actually appeared before us? In Mitch Albom's profound novel, a group of shipwrecked passengers must face that challenge when a strange man they pull from the water says he can save them all, but only if they believe in him. And I've tried to read this book 2 to 3 times. Every time I read it, it's kind of very confusing because it's kind of recreating the story of Jesus in a sense. This random man appeared out of nowhere while they were in this body of water. He was claiming to be God, and that if they believed that he was God, he would save them from this shipwreck because they were lost at sea. At the same time I was reading and I was like, I don't know if this is kind of like mockery. I don't think it's mockery because I read about the author and he kind of has Catholic roots and he's very interested in Christian stories, which I'm guessing is why he was inspired on writing this book. I don't know, it kind of feels weird because it's like my Messiah already came, so reading about someone who supposedly claims to be God save others is kind of weird. It's just weird because I'm such a devout Christian, and so I'm very careful about books that kind of replicate something that already happened in history. It's a very touchy, sensitive topic for me, and I try to understand it, right? Because I don't want to completely hate on a book. I'll definitely finish reading the book to kind of see the sense of where the author was trying to go, but as of now, this is definitely a physical book that I probably won't be reading soon. A new genre you'd like to try more of. So a new genre I'd like to try more of, I have been mentioning in previous videos, is nonfiction and literary fiction. I want to try more of those because I've been saying how I've only been reading strictly romance books, and that's just not how I want this year to go. It can be Christian-based books, self-help, literary fiction, can be all sorts of types of different topics. That is what I am interested in reading this year. Have I been keeping up with it? Probably not. February was the month of love, so I took the opportunity to read romance books that month. I actually took a break from reading books in general after that month and strictly focused on reading my Bible and delving into the Word of God, which is one of the reasons why I started my podcast section on this channel. It was something that I just felt called to do, and just seeing you guys' reaction to it kind of warms my heart because it's definitely a sign from God that this is what I'm meant to do, and He has revealed that to me as well. So I'm so grateful for all of you guys and your support on my podcast section. It's crazy, guys. Like, I fasted from reading other types of books just so I could focus on my Bible, and the difference and the change that I saw in my relationship with God was truly impactful. I also fasted from other types of music, and I stuck to listening to pure worship music just because I felt the need to get closer to God, and God definitely spoke to me throughout that experience. And so now I'm back. I am going to try to read those other books, but I'm definitely going to be very cautious because I find that when I read romance books, sometimes I kind of idolize the idea of romance, which was really bad for me, and that's mainly the reason why I decided to stop reading so much romance books, because it got to a point where I became very delulu, as they say, right? Like, that's the slang term of, like you're so in love with the idea of love. And I was like, wait, I'm forgetting my roots. God is love. God's the root of love. Let me go to him first. So I don't think books are necessarily bad. Not at all. It just depends on the type of content that you're consuming. Whatever you're consuming, it can either harm you or benefit you. I'm just trying to take care of my spiritual life now. You know, I'm trying to feed myself very fruitful things that will benefit me, things that will draw me closer to God or closer to his people, instead of things that will make it harder to refrain from sin or from temptation. And that is the true reason why I have been refraining from reading romance books, at least for now. And the way that I plan to do it, because I'm not gonna lie, literary fiction, nonfiction sometimes don't catch my attention like that. I have to ground myself into reading those books. So I've been listening to audiobooks, and audiobooks definitely give me the motivation into reading those books. I read a short story. The book is called Two Women Walk into a Bar by Cheryl Strayed. I just loved it. It delved into the topic of family and tough love and how everyone has a different upbringing in their life that causes them to be the version of themselves that they are, and basically how you can work through all the chaos and communicate and be there for each other. There was a lot of great moments in that book that kind of touched my heart because it talked about this grandma who did not have an easy life at all, and so the way that she would demonstrate her love to her daughter-in-law, sometimes a daughter-in-law, and honestly her son as well, they would feel not appreciated. She would basically have this super tough love, this guard with them. That was her version of showing them love though. And so it's kind of like, where do you meet? Where can you find that point in which both of the parties will feel loved and seen? So yeah. Look at me. What book made you want to try this genre? The reason why I stuck to literary fiction, nonfiction is because of the books that I read in school, which I have a couple that I thought of. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult, A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, Boot Camp by Todd Strasser. So those are the type of books that I read in school that I remember till this day had an impact on me, because I was like, whoa, books are literally so cool. I'm already a person who empathizes with people, and I feel like when I read those types of books, it humanizes all of us. A book you're most likely to reread. From my physical bookshelf, I chose Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World, and Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've seen so many people talk about how great these books are, and I read them, so I know that they have a lot of great things in them, but I want to reread it just to annotate it. I really enjoy annotating now, so I really want to go back, reread these, see if my ratings change for them since they're very highly talked about books, and yeah, just see in general what I think about them afterwards. And as for a book that I don't have on my bookshelf but I would love to reread, I would love to reread The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers. I remember I read that book about 2 years ago and it just spoke to me. It was so wonderfully written. I mean, Francine Rivers, come on now. She's an icon. She's a living legend. She knows how to write books, especially Christian books. She literally wrote Redeeming Love, which so many people have read who are not Christian. That personally wasn't my favorite book of hers. It would probably have to be The Masterpiece. I just want to reread it to relive it. The reason why I gave it 5 stars is just because the way that I felt reading it was like nothing else I remember. So that's how come I want to go back, reread it, and see if I will feel the same way. A book you wanted to get to in 2023 but didn't, so it's a priority in 2024. I really wanted to read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I remember I had this book in my December TBR video. I never read it, and I really want to read it. It's kind of like a mystery slash thriller. I can't believe I called The Inheritance Games fantasy. It's not a fantasy book, so sorry for saying it was. Yeah, this is just a book that I want to read because Jennifer Lynn Barnes is such a good author. I love The Inheritance Games, and so I want to give this one a chance. And there's probably a couple more, but I can't think of them right now. A series you want to read this year. I have a lot. I have a reading blog up of Legends. If you want to see that, I'll leave a link down below. But anyways, I read the first book. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I just want to continue this series. The Naturals, I haven't read it, but I know it's a book series that I would definitely want to continue. Then I have the actual whole complete trilogy set here of The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I want to get into, and I want to read it with the audiobook from the actual actors that play these characters. And then The Inheritance Games, I want to definitely continue this series, especially since it's going to become a show. And then a book series I really want to get into this year is the Percy Jackson and the Olympics series by Rick Riordan. Jordan. I am obsessed with the show, even though I haven't watched it yet, but with the clips that I've seen, I watched so many of their press videos because they remind me of the young Stranger Things cast. Like, I have so much love and respect for them, and I just wish them the best. So many people love it. I remember reading The Lightning Thief and seeing The Lightning Thief a long time ago in middle school, and I just feel like I would love it. An author you've never read before but want to try this year. Sally Rooney. Specifically, Normal People. I know Haley Pham loved that book, so I definitely want to give it a chance. An author you're probably not going to read more of this year. I'm going to try not reading too much of Christina Lauren, Abby Jimenez, and Taylor Jenkins Reid. Those three are the main romance book authors that trend all the time on TikTok. So I just want to take a break from them. A popular book you want to read. I have so many. Starting off with Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I had purchased this one last year and I really want to read it because people say like this is the book, the most cliche, beautiful romance book ever. And I want to see if it actually lives up to its hype. And then I have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, which is supposedly a book for growing up and in your 20s. And then I have Happy Place by Emily Henry, which also falls on that list. And Powerless by Lauren Roberts, which is a fantasy book. It reminds them a lot of Hunger Games, I heard, so I want to see for myself. And it's supposedly YA, a non-popular book you want to read. This one doesn't really count because most people do know of it. It is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. I read the sample book and it was so good. It genuinely delved into the mind of how an anxious person lives, and the writing style was genius. Especially if you're an anxious person, you kind of have these thoughts running and going in your mind 24/7, but you don't say them out loud. In her writing style, in the book, you see those unfiltered thoughts. If you know me, you know I forget names a lot, but I should remember it because that's not a great sign. And then Settle Up by Alison Specka. I saw her advertising her books on TikTok and I was like, I want to give it a chance because she has my name. And then Chosen by God by R.C. Sproul. It's a book that I don't hear too many people talking about, but I would love to read because I enjoyed The Holiness of God by R.C. Sproul, and they're the same author, if you couldn't tell. An audiobook you want to listen to. So I really want to listen to Tom Lake by Anne Patchett because of Meryl Streep. I saw a video where Haley Pham was listening to the book and she loved Meryl Streep narrating it, and I was like, I gotta give it a listen now. A book you want to read based on the cover. So I saw Celestria talk about the Nightingale trilogy by J.J. Fisher. The book gave me Game of Thrones vibes. And I'm not someone who watched the show or read the books, but I personally love the aesthetic basically because I'm a winter girly. My dog literally looks like a wolf. So I enjoyed that cover. The Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett also is a beautiful cover. I mean, my favorite Disney movie growing up was the Tinkerbell series. I was obsessed with that world, the music. I learned what the music genre is called. It's called folk. And there's a specific song that I listen to that reminds me of it. It's There Will Come a Soldier. He will tear down and lay a lie, oh Lord. Oh, lay a lie, oh lay, oh Lord. He will tear a city down and lay a lie, oh Lord. The Oh Hello Soldier Poet King. So every time I listen to that type of music, it reminds me of Tinkerbell and it makes me nostalgic. The last book that I chose was Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Sinsati. I saw the book and it was super cute, and the fact that she made it was even better. A book to TV adaptation you're excited for. I'm excited for The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Hopefully by then I have read all the books. And then The Cruel Prince, even though I haven't started reading it yet, it's definitely in my TBR list and I'm excited to read it. So therefore I will be excited to see the show. Something bookish you want to start doing this year. I want to start an organized reading journal and do more devotionals and balance out my Bible quiet time with the other books I read. Something bookish you want to stop doing this year. I want to stop adding to my TBR list. Like, instead of adding, let me just pick up a book and finish reading it. That way I could get through the list. A 2024 bookish goal. I want to try to write a book, guys. Emphasis on try. Let's see where it goes. Like, I definitely don't think I'm gonna finish it this year, but I just want to try and start it. A 2024 booktube goal. I would love to film more bookstore vlogs and just more outdoorsy reading vlogs. Booktube creators who inspire you. So obviously the big three: Haley Pham, Sarah Caroli, Destiny Sidwell. Then I have Alexa Ray, Larry, Kyra Stewart, Ashton Callie, Oshina. And then obviously I gotta give my booktube friends a shout out because I watch their videos. Celestria and the Writing Songbird. Something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a book account? I would say go for it. As cliche as it sounds, life is short. Don't let the opinions of others stop you from pursuing that passion of yours, because the booktube community is such a safe space. Personally, I met so many friends and so many people who love books just like me. It makes you feel seen, and it makes you feel like what you do as a hobby isn't just lame. It's something that so many people love too. It's just so fun to talk about books with people. And if you don't have like any book friends, your booktube community will become your friends. So that is my advice for you. That has been the end of my video because I don't want it to be super long. I hope that you guys loved it. I hope that this made up for me disappearing for a while. It hasn't been a while, but yeah. Have a great day. God bless you. See you next time. Bye.